Joining us. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. We're very excited to host this webinar tonight. We're excited to have you. And before we go any further, we can bow our heads and pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the gift of life. We're grateful for the gift of one another and an opportunity to be able to do this again. Our dear Heavenly Father, may you guide us. May you be with our viewers. May this be a well of wisdom and knowledge for them. May we impact lives in this session. And in Jesus' name we do pray, trust, and believing. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us. 2 weeks ago, we did a similar webinar on estate planning. That was part 1. We did it with Fidel right here. And it was a lot. There was a lot of questions. There was a lot of understanding, and we were happy to clarify. And because we did not complete, we are happy to be back so that we do part 2. And today we are joined by our very able, my learned friends. That's what I call them, our Savo lawyers. And I will give them a chance to introduce themselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Alice. My name is Fidel Moki. I'm a lawyer practicing in Nairobi at FMC Advocates. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fidel.
Thank you so much, Alice.
Yes.
My name is Hassan Kibet. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I practice conveyancing with the firm of GHM Advocates LLP.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. We don't take it for granted here at Savo. We are grateful. Personally, I am grateful for you've held my hand during these webinars and you have been present at every time of call. Thank you so much. And before we go any further, we can see who has joined us. And we say here at Savo, we're very passionate about FIRE. FIRE is financial independence, retire early. And when you join in, please drop the fire emoji. Just some fires there and we will see you. And tell us also where you're watching us from. I can see in the building, we have Harriet Kambura, who's saying they're in. Thank you so much, Harriet, for joining. I can see Carlos Robert, who's also saying they're ready. I can see Eminem, who's saying waiting. I have my notebook and coffee ready. You will get a lot from us tonight. I can see Carlos, who's saying we can do a Q&A. Yes, you can still send in your questions as we begin to speak, and then we will answer your questions as we continue. I can see Mbagu Joseph, who's dropped the fire emoji. Thank you so much for dropping the fire emoji. I can see Kilemi Isaac, who is a fire partner here at Savo. Thank you so much, Isaac. I can see Faith Linda, who works at FMC. Thank you so much, Faith, for joining in. I can see Carlos. I can see Ezekiel Okwach. I can see Tom. I can see Maureen, I can see Zach, I can see Kihara. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are happy and excited to do this with us. Before we go any further, in the market now we have our latest project, which is Sunset 2. Sunset 2 we dropped last week. If you watched our webinar last week, we dropped Sunset 2. It is in the market. It is hot. It is going quick. And before we can tell you the details of the project, please watch our video. That's the video of Sunset 2. Sunset 2 is a project on Kiambu Road. It's right here in Vindigua. It is a project where we are selling a variety of units. We have studios going for 1.8 million. We have superior studios going for 2.3 million. And we have the one bedroom going for 2.8 million. Here at Savo, we offer payment plans up to 5 years, but our construction period is 2 years. And after 2 years, if you have not completed paying, we will rent out your unit. We will take rent, but we advise you to try as much as possible and complete in 2 years, because the message in Savo is FIRE, so that you're able to get to your financial independence. As I said, thank you so much for joining us. And we can have Fidel do a recap of what we did 2 weeks ago.
Great. Thank you, Alice, for that introduction. It's interesting that you're mentioning Sunset 2.
Yes.
Those investors who are now starting to invest in Sunset 2, one of the topics that, or the topic that we discussed last week, really touches on such investors.
Yes, yes.
We talked about what investors should think about when they're investing and how they can plan ahead. So for example, how they can plan ahead for, providing for their dependents,
Yes.
providing for anybody who will succeed them in the event they pass on.
Yes.
Also, when these investors are investing jointly with others, what things should they consider?
Okay.
What kind of investment vehicle should they consider?
Yes.
And also, once the titles have been issued,
Yes.
the things that they should think about
Okay.
as an investor when it comes to succession and planning ahead for their estate.
Yes, thank you so much, Fidel, for the recap. So you can also, after we're done with this webinar, you can also go and watch the first webinar that we did. The first part basically was on the customer journey. When you begin to buy, what should you consider in planning your estate? As you continue to pay, what are the mechanisms you should put in place to ensure that you are investing the right way? And as you come to the end of purchasing a unit here at Savo and even anywhere else, what do you need to put in place as a mechanism to ensure that you're doing it right? So go and watch that video, and as we learned today. Hassan, kindly introduce today's topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Alice and
Yes.
Fidel.
Yes.
So part 2 mainly will be looking at what are the estate planning tools or vehicles that we can use to plan for our assets and just our assets.
Yes.
And our properties.
Yes.
So we basically are looking at, what you can do, because you have worked hard to amass your assets.
Yes.
So what next?
Yes.
And there's a big misconception when you're talking about estate planning tools.
Yes.
People normally think about, this is not something that I can do unless I am rich.
Yes, yes.
Or I am a high net individual.
Yes.
So that is a big misconception. So whatever asset you have, you
Yes.
can actually plan for it to ensure that when you, in case of incapacitation
Yes, yes,
or death, I know when you mention death and estate planning, it's like you're quoting death.
Yes.
Yeah, and
yes.
it's a taboo topic
Yeah.
to talk about death. But it is not that way.
Yeah.
This is simply just planning ahead
Yeah.
to ensure there are no disputes when
Yes.
you're not there, to ensure that things are going smoothly in case of anything happens to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very important and a timely topic
Yes.
to talk about.
Yes.
So whatever asset you have, it could be one apartment, it could be 2, 3 things, it could
Yes.
be your car, it could be your house. These are
Yes.
the things that you need to plan for in case of incapacitation or demise.
Yes.
Yes.
We are not saying that if you plan your estate, you will die. Here at Savo, we say, how proactive can you be? How
Exactly.
proactive can you be? Don't be reactive. Let everything you do, including investments, be a proactive step in your life. And today we will discuss, as Hassana said, we will be discussing the vehicles of estate planning. So what are the mechanisms I can put in place? What can I use to ensure that I am planning my estate? And Fidel, you can start it off for us. Yes.
So I think today we wanted to talk about several types of mechanisms.
Yes.
We want to talk about wills. We want to talk about trusts. We want to talk about companies. And also we want to talk about issues around joint tenancy, which we mentioned last time.
Yes.
So I hope we can discuss all of them in a bit of detail.
Yes.
I would like to start with wills.
The most common one.
The most common one,
Yes.
and also it's also one of the ones which people are always hesitant to do.
Yes, yes.
Because they always feel, number one, as Hassan was saying very, very eloquently, that, look, people don't want to plan
Yes, yes.
for death. So a will really is a legal document that, you're setting up a plan for the assets or what will happen to your assets when you pass on.
Yes, yes, yes.
As you said, you don't need to have a lot of assets. You can have just one asset.
Yes.
You can have just a car.
Yes.
Here at Savo, we have lots of investors who are investing for the first time.
Yes, yes.
It's their first apartment.
Yes.
So that apartment already forms part of your estate.
Yes.
So if you pass on, that asset has to go somewhere.
Yes.
It has to have somebody who will benefit from it. So a lot of the time, people need to think about what happens. Today I may purchase this lovely apartment at Sunset 2. 3 years down the line, when I have my title, something may happen to me. So how can I protect that asset from falling away to somebody I don't want?
Yes.
So it's good to have a will. A will is simply like a legal document you
Yes.
sign. You mention your assets, who your beneficiaries for that asset will be,
Yes.
and what will happen to, how they can access it. Yeah.
How what's the process of setting up a will? What do I need? Yes, I need to mention all the assets that I own, which is good for the family and good for the beneficiaries,
Yeah.
because it reduces loss, because nothing can get lost if I had already mentioned all the things that I own. But what else do I need to be able to set up a will?
So with a will, what one needs to do, and I feel it's very important, and we always advise clients to do this.
Yes.
Do an audit.
Yes.
Do an audit of your assets.
Yes.
You may think that an asset is not worth being put in a will, but you'll be surprised what can be put in a will. So
Yes.
you have a property, you
Yes.
have a car, you have jewelry, you
Yes.
have personal effects.
Yes.
So do an audit of that. Then go to your lawyer, explain to your lawyer that I have ABC kind of assets,
Yes.
and I want this kind of asset to go to this person. So the lawyer then prepares the document for you,
Yes.
sets it out, you know, how your assets will go to your beneficiaries.
Yes.
One of the important things that has to be in a will, you have to nominate who will be trustees.
Yes.
So a trustee is just somebody who will ensure that your estate is managed properly and that the property that you have put in your estate
Yes.
actually goes to the beneficiaries that you intend.
Yes.
So it's important to decide on who will be a trustee. So an example would be like a husband-wife situation. What's common is the husband will nominate the wife to be a trustee because that is the person they know best. That person also knows their assets very, very well.
Yeah.
Other people can nominate a trusted brother, sister, a trusted friend.
Yeah.
Sometimes people nominate their lawyer or their accountant. So somebody who understands your assets, they know where they are,
Yes.
and they know what will happen, what to do with them once you pass on. So it's important that you decide on your trustees right from the beginning.
Yes. I have written a will and something now happens to me and I pass on, is a will an automatic succession to my beneficiaries?
No,
Yes.
it's not an automatic succession,
Yes.
but it gives a path.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a clear path to how the person who is a beneficiary will receive the asset. What has to happen once the will has been prepared and you unfortunately you're not there anymore?
Yes.
That will has to be taken by the trustees to the court,
Yes.
and the court has to then prove the will
Yes.
and then confirm that this is how the person who made the will, who is you, wanted the estate to go. So it really has to go to court to be proved and then to be confirmed. Yeah.
And now since the court needs to prove, what do I need to do to know that this is a will that will be validated in the long run?
Very important question.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times people don't understand that a will, of course it's expressing your wishes, but what it has to do is also ensure that those wishes can be
Yes.
validly proven. An example is, I do a will with, say, my brother.
Yes.
In that will, I give my brother a property.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I pass on, my brother then goes to court and says, here's the will, here's
Yes.
Fidel's will, prove it and give me the assets.
Give me the assets.
The
Yes.
court will look at that will and say, no, because
Yes.
they'll say that my brother may have influenced me.
Yes.
Because he's a beneficiary,
Yes.
he cannot be somebody who witnessed.
He might have coerced you
He may
into
have
writing
coerced
the
me.
will.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So one of the most important aspects of a will is that once you write the will, it should be witnessed. When you sign off the will, it should
Yes.
be witnessed by two independent
Yes.
witnesses. And the witnesses can be a lawyer, can be anybody,
Yes.
so long as that person is not a trustee
Yes.
and is also not a beneficiary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't be we've talked about the will being a legal entity for the beneficiary to get what is rightfully theirs.
Yeah.
But what if you are my friend, Fidel? What if you send me some monthly upkeep?
Yeah.
But I am not really a beneficiary stated in your will.
Yeah.
What happens to me? And probably this is the money I depend on to live through every month.
Yeah.
I am not a beneficiary, but who am I in this case? And do I stand a chance in contesting a will or something?
No, that's very important because it's a situation that arises often.
Yes.
So you, because you used to receive income from me
Yes.
every month or
Yes,
whatever,
yes.
you're actually deemed to be like a dependent.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And what the succession laws say is that you should always provide under your will for all your dependents. It
Yes.
doesn't matter who the dependents were.
Yes.
So long as they can validly show that they were depending on you.
Yes, yes,
So a dependent does not necessarily have to be your child or your spouse.
Yes.
It can be your friend,
Yes.
your uncle, your auntie, your grandparent, anybody who was relying on you.
Yes.
And those guys can all make a claim to your estate because
Yes.
they can say, I was depending on you, so
Yes.
I'm entitled to your estate. So it's very important for anybody who is either interested in making a will
Yes.
or has a lot of dependents
Yes.
to ensure that whenever they make that will, they have some provision. They make some provision, even if it's something they give under the will to all the dependents. So there's no contestation. There's no issue at the point when the will is being proven by the court. Oh, suddenly Alice comes out of the woodwork. I was a dependent.
Yes,
yeah?
yes, yes.
But have not been provided under the will. And the court usually takes into consideration the dependents, who the dependents on, what they were receiving from you when you were still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that it needs, I need to get witnesses, independent witnesses,
yes.
to validate the will before I can send it out or before I can give it to my advocate in case of any eventualities. And also for stating that if you have any dependent, you might will for your child to take over this property, but you have your parent, it can be a parent, you have a grandparent who's a dependent of your income, who's a dependent of income generated by your assets, that it is very important for you to declare it in the will. Hassan, if someone leaves me a property in will, and now, for example, a real estate property, do I need to pay for transfer? Because the transfer, it needs to be transferred from so and so's estate into my name. Do I need to pay something like stamp duty for transfer?
Thank you, Alice.
Yes.
So such transactions are exempted from stamp duty.
Yes.
Yeah. So any matter that passes through succession,
Yes.
that you can be able to prove with a grant,
Yes.
then you'll be exempted.
Yes.
That matter is exempted.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hassan, for clarifying. Back to you, Fidel. So I have 5 children. We all know that's a lot of children.
Yeah.
We all know sometimes children are not of equal capability. You might have a child who is well off. You might have a child who is doing just the bare minimum to survive in life. And someone else who is extremely wealthy, as they're all your children and part of these children. And you want to write a will, but because sometimes as parents, we tend to differentiate, choose our children, but I decide this is my favorite child, or this is a child I consider more responsible, and I choose to leave to Fidel. What happens to Hassan, who feels I am not as responsible as you might have wanted me to be, but I am handicapped in having money? What happens?
Unfortunately, and Hassan will also attest to this,
Yes.
Disputes among children, especially where they're of different economic strength or whatever, are common. Also, unfortunately, parents have their favorites.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
So as a parent,
Yes.
you should consider whenever you're gifting the economic strength of each party. So
Yes.
if you have one child who is doing very well and one who is doing not so well,
Yes.
don't be imbalanced in the
Yes.
way you gift or you bequeath or you
Yes.
give your assets to the person who is more well off,
Yeah.
or the person you get along better. Because I've seen situations whereby you will find a parent and a child
Yes.
don't get along at all. In fact, there's hatred
Yes. Yes.
between that child and the parent.
Yes.
And then they have a very good relationship with another.
With another child.
And then when the parent comes to you and says, look, I want to gift
Yes.
this property, but I don't want
So and so.
so and so. I
Yes.
don't like her, or I don't like him.
Yes.
You have to advise them that, look, as much as you may not like that person,
Yes.
you need to leave them something, because that person is your dependent. Yeah, they were your child. They're entitled to something.
Yes.
Secondly, of course, with the economic strength,
Yes.
consider how you balance when you give. Because
Yes.
of course, it's better to give somebody who has less more of your estate.
Yes. Yes.
Because even the court will look at the will and look at it whether it's balanced,
Yes.
whether this person has more claim towards the estate compared to the other.
Yes.
Whether, for example, if it's a female, a lady,
Yes.
a child,
Yes.
she's married already, and she has, she's a dependent of somebody else.
Yes.
They consider that as well. So there are lots of factors that need to be considered, and you can't just make it an emotional
Decision.
I'll give to my favorites.
Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I think for many of us, wills being the most common, we tend to have many misconceptions around wills, where we think it is an automatic. As long as I get a will and the will says I am a beneficiary, then that's it for me. And once the person is no longer there, I can just I can just take up their assets and begin to earn the income from their assets. So thank you so much, Fidel, for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Yes. Over
Just,
to you.
Just to add,
Yes, yes.
I think when it comes to will, a will is strictly regulated by the Succession Act.
Yes.
So there are certain requirements that a will must exhibit. So one of the requirements, you as a person who is writing a will, is that you must prove that you are of sound mind and you have capacity. Because there are cases where, you know, someone is coerced, they are on their deathbed,
Yes.
and there is pressure being applied for them to do something. Another situation is where you have people who have, you lose your mind.
Yes.
You could be drunk as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So in those moments, the court cannot accept that you are of sound mind. So it's very important that you are of sound mind and you have capacity. And then when it comes to witnesses, they have to not only independent but competent. Exactly. So you cannot have a child who's under 18 as a witness to your will. Are they competent? I don't think so. So the law is very strict on those requirements. So those two takeaways are very key. So you really need to go out there and seek legal advice when you want to make a will.
Yes. Someone will ask themselves, because I think we've defined what a will is, and most of the things we've discussed are really the downside, like what can happen in an eventuality of writing a will, and there are just so many circumstances in it. Then why write a will if the court can contest, if a dependent can contest over a beneficiary, if all these ifs? What's really the need then?
I don't know if Fidel want to jump in, but let me start.
Yeah, sure.
So as much as the will will undergo probate, the process is called probate, where it's taken through court, the judge looks at it, you know, and see whether it's a valid will. So it's still important to ensure that you have your will written down, so that you have a say at the end of the day, because the judge will not consider doing the modes of distribution, or, you know, saying what will go to who in void. If you give the judge a context, as much as the will is contested, they'll be able to follow your will, even if it's not entirely your will, but at least a portion of it, you have a say on it. So it's a matter of having a say at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think maybe to add, what you don't want, especially as you accumulate a lot of assets and you invest and continue investing, you don't want there to be uncertainty if you pass on, because I mean that is it's a huge investment, and you're not doing it just for the sake of having property. And what you want is to have a control over how that asset will go. Otherwise, if you don't, the court will decide.
Yeah, that's true.
And the court will decide based on the circumstances that come in front of it. So if you have if you have siblings who are always fighting, if you're having people who don't agree, that then creates a problem whereby you may never have a solution to that problem for a long time.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying. I think we can move to the next mechanism, which is trusts. Trust is not as common as wills, but it's there. We've heard about trusts. So really, Hassan, what are trusts?
So just to put it in a simple language, a trust is a legal arrangement where you appoint certain people to manage your properties. So basically, you are doing it during your lifetime, and you are delegating your responsibility of running your estate to competent people. Exactly. It could be an entity, or it could be a person. So the advantages there, it really depends with the situation. Some go for corporate entities, just to ensure there is continuity in case, which doesn't happen when it comes to individuals. So that is basically a trust. So a trust manages your property, and it ensures that that your property is managed well, first of all. Secondly, you avoid succession, as much as it is subject to objection at the end of the day. But if it's managed properly and you have competent trustees, then you're catering not only for adults, but also you're ensuring that if you have vulnerable beneficiaries or you have kids, you can be able to take care of them. Because if you look at a will, you have to go through court. But when it comes to a trust,
Yes.
you don't have to go through court.
Court.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when it comes to, for example, paying school fees,
Yes.
in a will, you have to rush to court, seek maybe a grant, or if the grant has not been confirmed,
Yes.
at least you get something from court in terms of limited grants. Exactly. But when it comes to a private trust,
Yes.
that is not the case. And in most cases, it avoids disputes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because the beneficiaries are getting
Income from
income
it. Yes.
at the end of the day.
Yes.
Exactly. And then your businesses or your assets are managed together. At the end of the day, everyone gets what they deserve. Exactly.
What I'm getting from trust is that it reduces mismanagement of assets.
Yes.
It harmonizes the family in that people get benefits or get income from these assets. But my question will be, first of all, even before I ask the question I want to ask, how do I set up a trust?
So you do what is called a trust deed.
Yes.
So a trust deed is simply a document where you list, your assets, you list the trustees, what are their responsibilities. Yes. So that it becomes a living document that can hold people into account. Exactly. Okay. So that's how you set up. So another thing is that if you're doing a private trust, all you need is the trust deed, and then you go and pay stamp duty on it.
Yes.
Then there's no further requirement in terms of registration with the government.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So but there's a different kind of trust where you need to register with government under the Trustees Perpetual Act.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a different, it's a corporate kind of trust.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So what I'm getting when I list these beneficiaries, do I give a ratio? I want Fidel to get 4%. No, 4%. I want Hassan to get 50%. Do I, if this income that is generated from my assets, does it go to my beneficiaries in equal portion as I desire, or what is the criteria that trusts use to ensure that they take care of my beneficiaries?
Oh, okay. You have the discretion of putting whatever numbers
I want.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that is your declaration. Yeah. You're simply stating, what each individual will get, depending, of course, on their circumstances. Yes. So the prerogative or the discretion is upon the settler. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I will try if of course you've accumulated wealth, you are a responsible person.
Yes.
Because I want to ensure that my assets land in the rightful hands. And of course, I am appointing professionals, but who really, for lack of a better word, don't have skin in this game. They don't know if we are 10 high value investors you do not want my services anymore, there can be more and more and more. I am in a business, but this is an asset I have put in place to take care of my children, my beneficiaries, generations and generations to come. So how do I ensure that these trustees I have appointed, I can hold them accountable? What is the accountability mechanism of trustees?
Thank you.
Yes.
So the trust deed,
you
know that's a legal document, and it sets out the duties of trustees.
Yes.
And even if you don't set up all the duties in paper, there are duties called fiduciary duties.
Yes.
I can give an example where you have a directors of companies.
Yes.
They have fiduciary duties to shareholders.
Yes.
And what is fiduciary duties? Is to do the best
they can
for the shareholders. Exactly. So you can always rush to court when the trustees are not playing their role in terms of just the fiduciary duties and managing the properties very well. Exactly.
So I can only fire the trustees through court?
Basically, yes.
Basically, yes.
But the trust deed normally sets out
Yes.
A good trust deed will set out circumstances where trustees can be removed.
Yes.
For example, if they become incapacitated,
Yes.
they are bankrupt.
Yeah, if I can prove there's mismanagement.
Exactly. When they die, exactly. So you need to set out all those circumstances that can happen to trustees
Yes.
that requires their removal or their replacement.
I might like Fidel so much. I might like his responsibility, and I want him to become a trustee of my assets. But Fidel is one person. Fidel is eventually anything can happen to him. We can fall out. We can stop being friends. We can stop being responsible. Like there is a lot that can happen. Is an individual trustee better than a company trustee? What would be your advice to investors?
So there are pros and cons,
Yes.
Depending on the option that you take.
Yeah.
If you take an individual, it could be the case that you trust this person.
Yes.
They are easily reachable.
Yes.
Exactly. They understand your history.
Yes.
So those are the kind of considerations you make when choosing individual trustees.
Yes.
On the other hand, if you go with a corporate trustee,
Yes.
of course, the advantages are, one, it ensures there's continuity. Two, you're dealing with professionals,
Yes.
experts in their
Yes.
fields. So they
Yes.
do understand matters when it comes to investments.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So maybe the downside with a corporate trustee is that they could be expensive
Yes.
because you're dealing with professional advisors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the kind of considerations you need
That
to
you need to make before you set
to
up a
consider.
trust.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think
But
go on.
just that should not really scare someone
Yes.
into setting up a trust. You can simply start with a private trust where you have individuals
Yes.
that you trust, and then because you have the prerogative at the
Yes.
end of the day to revoke the trust. Yes, because you're doing it while you're still alive.
Okay.
So you can actually have the control at the
Yes.
end of the day,
Yes.
as a settler or as the founder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just going to add that I think with trust, what we've seen a lot, especially with guys who are high net worth,
Yes.
many of them opt to go with trust
Yes.
because one, they want to avoid all the baggage
Yes.
being caught up in court. So they usually go with that, and because of the wide nature or the extent of the estate,
Yes.
it's a better way for
It's
them
a better
to.
way.
But I've seen also trusts whereby it's just one asset
Yeah.
or two properties,
Yeah.
and the settler or the person who gave the trust has said this property shall be managed by
So,
either a corporate trustee or an
private.
individual, and all the income
yes.
management shall be done for the benefit of beneficiaries.
Okay.
And if they can even use the money to acquire other assets, invest in shares or whatever.
Yes.
So the discretionary powers that can be given to trustees really depend on you as a trustee.
Yes.
How wide do you want it to be?
Okay.
So you have a lot of say.
Okay.
Maybe just to add, I've had situations where someone has done a will,
Yes.
and in that will, they have also catered for a private trust.
A private trust. Okay.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Catering for certain individuals could be the mother who's old,
Yes.
or the brother who's old and incapacitated.
Yes.
So that you put provisions for those
Yes. For those
beneficiaries.
individuals.
Exactly. Just apart from the will.
Yes.
So a will can cater as well for
For a
a
trust.
trust. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you can set up a charitable trust,
Yes.
Which is common.
which is
Yes.
It's
common.
common, yeah.
Exactly.
And a will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me.
Because you don't want your all
To
your
me.
assets to go to, or your beneficiaries alone.
Yes.
So a charitable, it could be you want to promote education.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So you set up a fund for that, so that when you die, it ensures that
Your assets continue
certain
to fund.
assets.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because you may find somebody has a even when they're alive, they
Yes.
are a trustee
Yes.
in a charitable institution where they are helping kids or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
So they want part of their estate to continue to benefit them. So it's actually, I would say it's common
It's
to
common.
see that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for clarifying. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us. Kindly continue to send in your questions. We are happy and ready to answer. I can see Kihara who's saying I'm also here. Thank you so much for joining. I can see Mark Moy who's saying hi. Hi, Mark. Kindly send in your questions if you have any. I can see Chania who's also dropped the fire emoji. Thank you for joining us. I can see Eston who's also joined us. I can see Ibrahim Kamau who's joined us. I can see Samuel Gitodo. I can see Fanuel, who's a server right here at Savo. Thank you so much. I can see Caroline, who's also dropped the fire emoji. Thank you for joining. I can see Stephen, who's watching from Nairobi. Thank you so much. I can see Nick Njeru, who's also dropped the fire emoji. I can see Wibon. I can see Ndonga Lewis, who works at FMC. Thank you so much. I can see Nicholas, who's also watching from Machakos, who's also dropped the fire emoji. I can see Ibrahim, who's asking, can a will be invalidated by a court of law? We had answered that. Yes, it can. Yes, it can be invalidated by a court of law. If it can be invalidated, under what circumstances, we've also answered that. I hope it is clear. Kindly let us know if it is clear. We're here, we're able to repeat and go over it again. I can see Samuel, who's also joined us. I can see Catherine Muhammad, who's also tuned in. I can see someone who's asking, what happens to the asset if I die before writing a will or establishing a trust?
Should I take that one, or if you want to?
Yeah, I think we do.
Yes.
So I think it's part of this planning. You know, it's there. You just haven't planned.
Yes.
So somebody will plan it for you, and the person who will plan it for you is the court,
Yes.
and the guys who are left behind. So what happens if you don't have a will? All your dependents, wherever they are, whether it's your spouse, your friend,
Anyone.
anybody who felt that, as you were saying,
Exactly.
you are paying my income and whatever.
Yes.
Anyone who felt that you are
Important to them.
or they were dependent on you,
Yes.
can
Will
apply
come and claim. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So what usually happens, a lot of people suddenly come out of the woodwork, relatives, friends, and unfortunate spouses, other girlfriends, boyfriends,
Yes.
who all
Who
are
we didn't
saying
know about.
you didn't know about,
Yeah.
and what happens
Everyone
is
is claiming.
everyone is claiming, and you see what happens is some people may go to court, say
Yes.
their family members,
Yes.
and when they apply to the court and the case is in court,
Yes.
what happens is those other people now come in and say, oh no, we are contesting what you're doing, and we're entitled to it. So yeah, it can bring a lot of problems.
Don't be caught up. Don't be caught up in not planning your estate. Anyone will come and sort over your hard work. Yeah.
And then maybe I can add.
Yes.
It could be the case where you can't trace your assets. People
Yes.
can't trace your assets.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is very common.
Yes, that's
and
common.
that is the reason why the government came up with it's called what? UFA.
Yes.
The Unclaimed Assets Financial Authority.
Yes.
Exactly. Because you find a situation where people are not claiming assets, but they died long time ago.
We don't know.
So those assets are going to the government,
Yes.
and government is enjoying whatever
The benefits.
Benefits. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
benefits, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So kindly plan your estate. Our lawyers here are here and ready and able to assist you to plan your estate so that you're not caught up somewhere where you're resting and your beneficiaries are suffering, yet you had assets that will have set them off well in life. So kindly do not be caught in the haze of investing while not doing estate planning. Yes. We've talked about trust, we've talked about wills. I think now, Fidel, we can talk about power of attorney. We mentioned a bit of it last week, but now we can go deep into it.
Yeah. So power of attorney, I think, as we're talking about planning ahead and estate planning, power of attorney is a good way to plan your estate while you're alive. And really, it's more about managing.
Yes.
So if you are, say, in the diaspora, or you are somebody who's too busy to be, coming down to sign documents or to manage your estate yourself, you can appoint somebody. So, for example, you're in the diaspora, you're living there, you're earning income, hopefully sending some back home, which you are. You can appoint maybe a family member by way of a power of attorney and give them that power of attorney to be able to sign documents for you, to handle your estate. And it's a legal authority which is recognized.
Yes.
So even if it is a power of attorney to come to Savo, sign the sale agreement, that one is there. If it's a power of attorney to come and manage your investment here, that is what you can limit it or make it as broad as possible. So we have what are called general powers of attorney, which are very broad in their mandate. And then there are those which are called specific powers of attorney, which may just relate to that specific unit A203 at Skywalk, which they say this is the person who manages.
That's
so so very easy to do, powers of attorney. The only thing with them, and I think you should be cautious about, is who you appoint.
Yes.
Make sure it's somebody you trust, somebody who's looking after your benefit, because once you give somebody a power of attorney, you're basically saying, this is the person who's legally authorized to handle my issues. And that person, if they're malicious, can actually do a lot of harm.
Okay. Fidel, today I'm using you in many examples. So, Fidel is
I'm
my
not sure
friend. Hey, because you're just seated right here next to
Yeah.
me. So Fidel is my friend. I decided to give him the power of attorney. But Fidel, for some weird reason, decides, I think, gets greedy or something like that. And what will happen? I have appointed you to sign documents on my behalf. I have appointed you to do everything on my behalf. You can even sell the assets behind my back. What's legal? What covers me legally against you?
Again, it really goes to you deciding to the extent of the power that you want to give them. If you give them a broad range of powers,
Yes.
there's a likelihood that they can go and misuse. So really, it's about you being able to manage that. Of course, you have recourse, or you can go to court to challenge what they have done.
Yes.
But you see, a power of attorney is very much like, it's on its face.
Yes.
On its face, somebody will interpret that you gave them the authority, so they were given. So, for example, you may give somebody a power of attorney to purchase a studio.
Yes.
They go ahead and purchase
Yes.
a one-bedroom. Yeah. The person who is selling to them
Yes.
is not going to be disadvantaged because that power of attorney is a legal authority.
It's a legal authority,
So you have to be careful that you're able to you give the correct authority. And also be interested. Don't just give somebody a power of attorney and then sit back
Yes.
and
just live your life.
live your life and
Yeah.
everything is okay. Because we
Yeah.
have seen such cases where
Yes.
somebody gives a power of attorney and then the other party goes ahead and does something messy.
Yes,
and
messy
then
with it.
all of a sudden they're going to a lawyer to
Yes.
say, can you help me?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's important that you're aware of your rights and your obligations and
Yes.
not just be a passive
Yes.
investor.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. But mainly when we say power of attorney is for managing my estate and my assets. What happens in the eventuality of death? I am assuming this is not a beneficiary. This is not a beneficiary in any way. So what happens? Does it immediately stop? Or if the beneficiary wants to appoint them, does it continue? So what happens in an eventuality of
Yeah, so power of attorney
Yes.
is only valid
Yes.
until either it is revoked.
Yes.
So you, as the person who gave it,
Yes.
revoke it and
Yes.
say you're no longer my attorney, and you sign a document,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and register it.
Yes.
The other way that it is revoked is if you die.
Yes.
So as
If
soon as you die,
it terminates
it
automatically.
terminates automatically. It does not vest or give that person the right
To
to
continue.
get that asset.
Okay.
The person is not a beneficiary.
Yes.
So if you want them to be beneficiaries, you have the mechanisms we've discussed, trust, will, whatever. Put them under your will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, so that if I am appointed, I don't think I have won myself a jackpot in life,
Exactly.
and then I get this asset. Thank you so much for clarifying that. We can go to you, over to you, Hassan, and we can talk about gifts.
I think as they are, gifts are simple
Yes.
and straightforward. So you gift, it means that actually you're just, giving up your asset
To someone.
to someone
Yes.
while you're still alive.
Yes.
Exactly. And you have to make sure that at least you do formal registration
Yes.
to ensure the other person has legal ownership over whatever you have given them.
Yes.
Yes. So that's simply about gifts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very good way of managing your assets. So if you don't want to include the same in the will,
Yes.
which of course a will will go through a
Yes.
long court
Yes.
process, just gift in advance.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gift me, Hassan, for whatever reason, but you do not transfer legal documents to me. So in your time on this earth, you allow me live in a unit, you allow me earn income from a unit, but this unit still remains under Hassan's name. I am here, Alice. You have died. What do I do?
You have the option of actually going to court.
Yes.
And presenting your case,
Yeah.
saying this property was gifted to me in advance.
Yes.
I've been enjoying benefits from it.
Yes.
So it's a matter of actually just showing to court
Yeah.
how you have been deriving benefits. You can actually get witnesses to say, this person has been enjoying that gift
Yes.
in a way that, as much as we haven't done formal registration,
Yes.
it can be considered, as my property.
It can be, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So as you give gifts, it is good to gift. We are entering the season of gifting. So as we enter the season of gifting, as you give gifts, please ensure that you pass down the correct documents. Don't just gift people things, and then when you're not here, people are just left stranded. Please do it the right way. That's why we're here, so that we ensure you do it the right way. I can see Ezekiel Okwach, who's saying Ezekiel is an investor at Sunset. Thank you so much, Ezekiel, for tuning in. I can see Mshindi Elijah, who said they've joined. Thank you so much for joining in. I can see Monica, who's saying they've tuned in and they appreciate your work. Thank you so much, guys. I can see Victoria, who's also dropped the fire emoji. Thank you. I can see Nancy, who's saying this is very informative. Thank you so much, guys. You're welcome. We are here every Wednesday. We do this for you. I can see Anne Waichanga, who's saying great insights from the panelists. Reminds me of she's mentioned some cases that have happened. Thank you, Fidel, Hassan, and Alice. Thank you so much. I can see Lucy Angela, who's also joined, who's saying the very informative. Alice, thank you so much, Lucy. I can see Dorcas, who's also tuned in from Thika. Thank you. I can see Ibrahim, who says, how does the world know that someone has died when someone has their power of attorney? So you've given me the power to stand in for you, but now you die, but I'm the one who stands in for you. Clearly, you're like a shadow in all this. Yeah. So how do people know you've died?
Yeah, it's tricky because death is not announced unless you're the kind of person who reads the obituary section frequently. Yes. Which I'm not that kind of person. But yeah, it is a tricky situation. Yes. I think always it's important if you see somebody is signing with a power of attorney. Yes. Say for example, an investor wants to invest in a servo unit. Yes. What we would want to know is, okay, it's X person. Yes. We want to at least know that they are alive and they have communicated with us. Yes. And they have confirmed that this is the person who they have given attorney. Yeah. Secondly, that they have given that documentation. Yes, so we ask for that documentation. So I know of one case whereby it was a husband-wife situation. Yes. They were purchasing in a servo unit. Yes. And the wife, the husband was staying overseas, yes, and the wife was staying in Kenya. Okay. Now, getting the husband to sign was a problem. Yes. But the wife told us that she had given him a power of attorney. Yes, yes. We got the confirmation from both that the attorney had been issued, that it was true, really, and they gave us the documentation. Okay. Okay. So even us as lawyers, we also do due diligence. Do your own due diligence. Yeah. And it's important even anytime somebody gives a power of attorney and they're saying they have a power to sign, get that confirmation from the person who gave it, that they are indeed authorized and they are alive and around.
Yeah. Just to add, you can request for an indemnity as the person receiving. Yes. Yes. So ask for indemnity. That will protect you. Yes. Exactly. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying. So power of attorneys of people, don't just go running errands you have not been told to run. Kindly. Exactly. Yes. Fidel, last time when we were talking about, when we were doing part one, we talked so much about investors, and investors sometimes decide, the three of us are siblings. We really love each other and we want to invest. And then we just come and invest. And what are the names under this investment? Hassan, Fidel, Alice, and that's it. And then me and my partner really love each other. What are the names under the agreement? Alice and whoever. So so I want us to talk about companies and really talk about this extent where we want to encourage people to not invest as siblings or as husband and wife only. Let's talk about companies.
Yeah. I think it's great that people can invest as a group, because of course when you're investing as a group, you're spreading the risk, you're all pulling your resources together and all that. That's great, I think. And it's great that with Servo, it happens frequently. Yes. I think the only thing that I would caution investors is that if you're going to invest as a group, put it under an entity. Yes. Because the good thing with an entity, it has what I think we mentioned last week, perpetual succession. It will always be there. Yes. So there's always that aspect of perpetual succession. So it can't just die. A company doesn't die. Yes. It's only the people within it that die, unfortunately. But now, within the company, you as the group can just set up structures for yourselves. Yes. What happens, so just for argument's sake, all of us will agree to pull resources into
Yes.
acquisition of an asset. All of us will agree that in a meeting, these are the obligations that each party will, or each party will have.
Yes.
When it comes to managing the affairs, when it comes to all that.
Yes.
The other important thing that you would agree
Yes.
is what happens if one of us dies or one of
Yes.
us is incapacitated.
Yes.
Because, for example, in a family situation, like we mentioned a husband, wife, and
Yes.
I think Hassan will talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
Usually what happens when a husband or wife situation where
Yes.
they own assets, usually the asset goes to the surviving spouse if one
Yes.
passes on.
Yes.
But when you're friends like this, the relationship is more not
Divergent.
divergent,
Yeah.
exactly. So what usually happens is that if one person dies, that share of that person in that asset
Yes.
falls to their estate.
Yeah.
Now imagine a scenario whereby we have 6 people who
Yes.
have invested individually. Things are going well.
Yes.
They've got their title today. They all come, they sign, they're happy.
Yes.
And tomorrow, unfortunately, one of them passes on.
Yeah.
These guys were intending to sell this asset or to lease it out or to do
Yes.
something with it. It becomes a problem because you cannot deal with an asset if
Yes.
one party who was supposed to sign is not there.
Yes. Yes.
And if you're investing as individuals, that one person has to be there to sign.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it becomes a problem. But when you're in a company, the company signs as a company.
Yes.
So whoever is left, they're still able to manage
Yes.
the company. So it's a very good way, especially when you have, and we've handled this with many clients.
Yes.
Where there's a whole group of people. It's a very good way to invest. You can have a shareholders agreement or whatever kind of document
Yes.
that just governs your relationship, governs what happens on death.
Yes.
Do the shares go back to the company? Are they
Yes.
spread around with the existing investors, or do they go to the estate?
Yeah.
Those are the things that can be put in a shareholders agreement.
Okay.
So it's a good vehicle to use.
And if I have a company, if I invest in a company, of course I have whatever number of shares, but in when I die, do I need to specify in this shareholders agreement that this is what I want to happen to my share if I am not here, or any eventuality just happens?
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of having that shareholders
Yes,
agreement, because
yes.
it's an agreement between me, you, Hassan,
Yes.
that if any of us dies, Fidel's share will go to his estate.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Another thing you can agree is, even if they go to the estate will not necessarily come in and start being part of our group.
Of the company.
We will
yes.
just pay off the estate, you
Yes,
see,
okay.
and then the rest of us just continue as the company goes
Yes,
on. Because
yes.
sometimes what happens is, you may have to deal with an estate who you have no idea.
Yeah, you have.
I don't know about your family. As much as we are best friends, I don't know about your family.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
true.
about any dependents that he has, and we don't want to be. You don't want to bring them
To be caught up.
into our arrangement. So
Yes.
there's always has to be like some mechanism, and if you get a good lawyer who can
Yes.
assist you to
Yes.
advise on all this,
Yes.
you'll find you have a peace of mind
Yes.
as you invest.
Okay.
You're more comfortable, and you know what will happen if anything happens.
Okay. Yeah. So you've heard it from Fidel. If you're investing more than one person, a friend, a sibling, whatever, have the structures right. Have a company, have a shareholders agreement. Just please get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about friends, we've talked about siblings.
Yes.
Now we want to come closer. We want to talk about husbands and wives. Yes.
Okay. So I think what is synonymous with husband and wife is a type of ownership called joint tenancy,
Yes.
where you are jointly registered, 2 or more people are jointly registered as owning a certain property.
Yes.
So it's normally ideal for husband and wife
Yes.
in most situations. And another characteristics about this type of ownership is a doctrine called doctrine of survivorship,
Yes.
such that one person can survive the other
The other.
and take their interest
Yes.
fully.
Yes.
So in that case, that arrangement will not be taken through succession.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're surviving and you're taking the shares as such. Exactly.
Okay.
So it's carved out or exempted
Yes.
from succession. So
Okay.
it's a very good tool in
Yes.
terms of ensuring that property goes to the right
To the
person.
right person.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Hassan,
Yes.
in this marriage, I am willing. My heart is willing. My mind is willing. I know it for sure in my heart that I want this share to go to my husband. Where do I document it?
So, so if it's, for example, a unit or an apartment.
Yes, yes.
So during transfer or during registration, you complete a transfer form and make sure that your interest is reflected,
Yes, yes.
such that when the title is coming out, it specifies what kind of interest is being held by these two persons.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
So in this particular case, in my section title or in my list, I need to
Exactly,
specify that
Yes.
this is my
Joint
my
tenancy.
successor.
Yes.
This is my successor in eventuality of anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it will be written something like joint tenancy.
Joint
Exactly,
tenancy.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So
Okay.
there's another type of ownership,
Yes.
I think, which is opposite of joint.
Yes.
It's called tenancy in
In
common.
common, okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So in tenancy in common, you're having undivided share
Yes.
in a specific property. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the law has been changed in a way to ensure that tenancy in common is the default,
Yes.
such that if you don't state that
Yes.
we are owning this property jointly,
Together. Yeah.
then the
Jointly.
law says that property is considered
Tenancy
being
in
called tenancy
common.
in common. And why is that? To ensure that your interest is catered for
Yes.
for your beneficiaries.
Even in your absence.
Even in your absence. Exactly. So it ensures that whatever you'll get at the end of the day is your interest, which goes to your beneficiaries.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Fidel, we have husband A and wife B here. So this wife B and husband A buy a property together. But everyone has their share. And everyone in their mind and in their heart, they know, I do not want my share to go to my partner in the eventuality of death. And I want it to go to, for example, to my child, to a parent, to whatever, to whoever. Can I contest as if I bought it, Fidel and Alice, but you decide your share goes to your child, but I feel like I have a right to that share too.
Right.
Can I contest tenancy in common?
Okay, so I think as Hassan clearly stated, if that relationship is not clearly set out as joint,
Yes.
you're holding it jointly, so it's a
Yes.
joint tenancy,
Yes.
the courts will deem it to be a tenancy in common. So it will automatically go to your estate if it's not clearly set out. So in terms of contesting, what you can do, you can simply ensure that your share goes, or your beneficiaries will be able to ensure that your share goes to them.
Yeah.
So in terms of contesting, so long as it's clear. If it's not clear, then the court deems it to be a tenancy in common. So the court will decide for you.
Let's be clear, guys. Let's be clear.
Very clear.
Well, once we're doing investments, let's not leave our beneficiaries out in the cold when we're
Absolutely.
making our investments. That's why our lawyers have joined us today, so that they ensure that you're able to make the right decision, so that they ensure that you really plan your estate in case of any eventuality. Thank you so much, guys. We're coming to the end of this. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see more people who've tuned in. I can see Dorcas, who's watching us from Thika. Thank you so much, Dorcas. I can see Mshindi, who's saying, very good job, councils. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I can see Felix Mbaya, who's saying good insights and fantastic presentation. Thank you so much, Felix. I can see Hilda, who's saying they're also tuned in from Karatina. I can see Sharon Makatiani, who's one of our investors, who's also dropped the fire emoji. Thank you so much, Sharon. I hope now you know the best ways to plan your estate. I can see Margaret Washira, who's also saying this is very informative. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. We will do this more and more and more. And I hope this has been very beneficial for each one of you who's tuned in and watched us today. And then I will give you each a chance to tell us. I have said they're my very learned friends. I will give them a chance to say who really are they, what do they do, and in the farms they operate, what do they run every day? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Alice.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
I'm glad we've had this topic.
Yes,
It's absolutely vital,
Yes.
especially because we have investors who are investing and
Yes.
they're investing as groups.
Yes.
So with myself, I work with my firm, FMC Advocates.
Yes.
A lot of what we do is property, advising clients on estate planning. So we do, as much as possible, try to guide clients whenever they come to visit us and trying to invest. We give them advice in terms of the kind of structures that can work for them. So we're based in Westlands.
Yes.
You can reach us at FMC Group at fmcadvocates.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where's Westland?
Westlands. Yes.
Kalson Towers.
Kalson Towers.
Second floor.
Second floor.
Yes.
Thank you.
so
See,
much,
you know.
Fidel. Yes, but they don't know. Yes, over to you, Hassan.
So thank you so much
Yes.
for the invitation.
Yes.
I think what we're doing is very informative,
Yes.
educative,
Yes.
and this is something that we'll be doing more often. Because a lot of these questions normally pop up,
Yes.
especially when it comes to estate planning.
Yes.
But as I mentioned earlier, because of the misconception
Yes.
that only the rich plan for their estate, it does not get the deserved attention. So let's continue with the discussion
Yes.
so that people can get the right message out there.
Yes.
So I practice with a firm called JHM Advocates LLP.
Yes.
We majorly focus on real estate and conveyancing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Where can they find you?
CMS Africa,
Yes.
11th floor,
Yes.
Kilimani.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thank you so much for allowing yourselves, for giving time to do this with us. I appreciate, Savo appreciates, and our investors, of course, appreciate. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As we said when we began, we said we have Sunset 2 in the market. Kindly get in touch with us. We here at Savo, we will hand you over to someone called a fire partner. A fire partner is the person who will walk your financial independence journey with you. So we have Sunset 2 on site, and as I said, we have a variety of units. We have 1 bedrooms going for 2.8 million. We have superior studios going for 2.3 million, and we have studios going for 1.8 million. We offer payment plans of up to 5 years. So kindly get in touch with us and begin to walk your financial independence journey. Ndo pia wewe ukwe na estate ya kuplan, sindo? Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. We are grateful. It was a beautiful evening. It was good interacting with you. Continue to send in your questions. We are happy and able to assist. Until we meet next time, bye guys.
Have you ever been in this situation? You're planning to purchase some real estate assets for investment purposes. So you start looking around and you realize so many real estate investment companies here in Kenya offer payment plans of up to 8 years. Most real estate investment companies will require you to pay a deposit of anywhere between 10% to 30%. The industry average is 20%. Now, this is where the challenge begins. Because, let's be honest, not so many people can afford to raise such an amount of money at once. Here at Savo, we are now making it easier for you to own an investment apartment without any deposit. I mean, zero deposit. All you need to do is pick a payment plan of up to 5 years and pay as little as 30,000. Have you ever been in this situation?
Owning your first apartment in Nairobi has never been easier. It's simple. With zero deposit and 0% interest rate, you can pay as little as 30,000 per month for up to 5 years. Just divide the price by the number of months you want to pay. Visit www.savo.ke to learn more.